let's go ahead and talk to our next caller here. We have Patricia, who's calling in from New York. Let's hear Patricia's call.
Dan, hi Puck. So my question is, are there any conspiracy theories that you've heard that you kind of believe a little bit? Or alternatively, ones that you wish were true? Thanks.
Ones that I wish were true.
Here's the tricky thing about this question. Conspiracies have happened. Like people conspiring to make events happen and those plans being carried out, like, have happened in history. Like, you could just read any book about the history of the CIA to know that. Like, a lot of, not everything that people talk about the CIA is credible, obviously, but like, they definitely helped topple some regimes through, installing people in power and stuff, in democratic nations and stuff, which is really scary. The Banana Republic and the Banana Wars that people talk about is a great example of some of that happening in Latin America and South America, if you want to look at what was going on there. But yeah, I think a question like this needs to be clarified in the sense that conspiracies do happen. And so the ones that we have good evidence for that we know happen, like, we can say that are real. It's just most of them aren't. Like, there's just so many crazy claims out there that we can't verify, or there's just no evidence for them actually ever happening. So I would stick to the ones that we can know for sure are a thing. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Puck?
Well, yeah, and to keep working off of that, when you say good evidence, we need actual good evidence, because you and I were doing a little bit of research on a conspiracy. I'm not going to name the conspiracy, but you and I were looking at how they claimed that they were correct, and those were not very good reasons at all. And from listening back to the past year of shows, there was a COVID denier who had called way back in March, and that call did not age well at all, by the way, sorry to say.
Nope.
Yeah, and then you had another caller earlier this year who claimed that 9/11 was an inside job, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the evidence that they provide for this is not anything that I would have considered evidence. They basically latch onto some coincidence and try to make it more than it is. So what's more interesting to me than an individual conspiracy claim is what so many of them have in common. That why is this convincing to some people? Like, they feel like they caught some weird parallel between two things. Therefore, they must be connected. They were the ones that discovered the connection between whatever, and then the reptilian race that's ruling us from Antarctica. I don't know how that one goes. You'll have to fill me in. But so more interesting to me than any individual conspiracy, that so many of them seem to start out the same way, about finding some weird coincidence. You're the one that discovered it, so you're the special one that got to put it together.
Yeah, it's like a commonality I find too is a denial of, like, a distrust in the media in reporting on the truth of these, which is why people justify it as, oh, like, the mainstream media is going to cover this up and that's why we don't know about it. But like, some of the best information that we know about real conspiracies that have happened are because of media investigation. I mean, like Watergate, for example, that was a conspiracy on some level. Like, that was a group of people who organized in secret to carry out actions towards, like, a political goal. Like, you can call that a conspiracy. We don't think about it because we don't think about it in those terms because we know it happened. Like, it's real. Like, people talked about it in the news and stuff, but like, or Enron, Enron's another one that happened in the early 2000s, people doing these insider trading and stuff. Like, this stuff happens a lot, but we don't use the same terminology when we say conspiracy theories, because the common image for conspiracy theories is some guy in a basement with a tinfoil hat talking about reptilians and stuff. But like, really, I think if we reframe things a bit and just think about, like, oh, the reason why we don't believe in these is not because it's a conspiracy itself, but because the evidence for that conspiracy is not up to the standards that we hold for other kinds of conspiracies, then we can, figure it out from there. And if you want to know a specific one, the Epstein stuff is still out for the jury on me. Like, that's just very, very strange circumstances. And I don't think one can't help but question a lot of like what is going on there. And I don't think we know all the answers yet. I'm not saying like, like maybe he didn't do what he did, but like there's a lot we don't know. We're still figuring out stuff. And that man was shady as heck, and had, if anybody was going to be a part of a conspiracy, it would be Jeffrey Epstein. Like that is just, I don't think anybody can deny that. So that's me.
I'm trying to think about the next part of that question. It's like, do I have any conspiracy theories that I wish was true? I haven't been digging into conspiracy theories enough to have a good answer for this. But if anything can lead us to a cashless and povertyless society, and if taking down any particular conspiracy is going to help us toward that, let's make it that one. I just don't know if there's any specific out there. There's a lot of them that say that there are 7 people who own 99% of the world's wealth, and they're conspiring to keep everybody. I don't know if they're conspiring to, or if that just happens to be a side effect of what they do. But yeah, if there was some way to take out the financial obligations that keep us bound where we are, if we can get rid of those and exist in a cashless society, great, let's do it.
Cool. Good stuff. I love that question.